halfway between Stockholm and the Baltic states of Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. There's actually a lot of boat building going on in Estonia right now. Most of the European boulder builders get their fiberglass work done in Estonia, really high quality. Well, I'm here in the J-Craft facility. This is a new building. We just moved here in February. They're building boats and still finishing construction at the same time. It's a very impressive facility. I'm going to give you a tour today. J-Craft builds one model, the Torpedo 42. It's right over there. You'll get a closer look later. They have been building about one a year for the last 20 years. Hull number one went to and is still owned by the King of Sweden. So they build for royalty, and now they build for you. They're IPS boats. They do 40 plus knots. They have a level of detailing, finish, and sort of a luxury appeal. Very hard to find anywhere on the planet. You'll hear later in this tour that most of what they've learned about how to build these boats is because they build torpedoes as tenders for Lorsen and Hazen. You can look up any major super yacht built in the last few years, like Nord just delivered, the yacht with 2 helipads. What does it use as a tender? J-Craft 42 torpedo. So let me take you around from the beginning to the end of a build. So this was a surprise to me. I'm holding in my hand cord panels. These are what is between the skins of fiberglass hull and decks. And most builders buy them like this, already made with a fiberglass skin on the back, with all of these scarfs and cuts made into them for the resin to be absorbed. And most builders, in my experience, they buy them off the shelf, just like this. But J-Craft does not. Let me show you what they do. J-Craft, and I'll tell you why in a minute, buys the raw sheets, and then through a variety of pretty cool machines, they make exactly what they need. This machine cuts drills, as you see here. Hundreds and hundreds of holes. If you look down here, I'm not sure if the video will show the holes, but this is stage 1. And this somewhat dusty machine is stage 2, and this cuts the cuts, they're actually called scarfs, into the foam. They run it through twice so that the cuts go both longitudinally and vertically. And then we come to this machine, which bonds to the surface of the foam a thin layer of fiberglass fabric. Inside this drum, they heat the drum up to 90 degrees centigrade. That's going to be 180 maybe degrees in Fahrenheit. And then they roll the sheet under the drum, and then this fiberglass scrim or cloth, which has adhesive on the back, is rolled onto it, and then you end up with a sheet that's glass on one side and fabric on the other. Here are the finished sheets. I'm getting ahead of myself a minute, but these are the flat finished sheets, but they have to break them up so that they can wrap around curves. And for that, we have this machine that breaks up the sheets into the curves that are needed. This whole factory is being rebuilt. They actually just moved in here in February. It's about 6 weeks from being finished. It's twice the size of the older factory so that they can expand production. And this is the mold room, or the temporary mold room, while they finish construction. And for example, this is the mold of the deck of the torpedo, which is 42 feet long. The mold for the hull itself is in another facility. I don't think I'm going to get there today. That's on the north side of the island. After the parts come out of the mold, or if they're the wooden carpentry parts, after they come from the jigsaws, they come here into the paint room, which is both temperature, humidity, and barometrically controlled environment with extraordinary lighting. When I look at paint rooms, the first thing I look at is the lighting, and then the ventilation. Air comes in through here and gets sucked out through these side panels, and there's negative pressure controlled in here, meaning that no dust can get in. This is how you get a great paint job. And of course, they spray varnish as well in the paint room. So for example, this is the helm area. You see the companionway down of a J-Craft Torpedo 42. There's the cutout for the steering wheel, for the electronics. All the other highly varnished parts, 18 coats of varnish. And on the deck itself, those 18 coats go over 12 coats of epoxy. That's how you make a fine job. Here's some more examples of that high quality varnish work. Several hundred pieces of varnish mahogany go into the trim of the boat. I'm going to hold off on showing you the deck. I'm trying to do this chronologically. So this is the hull of the Torpedo 42 number 20. The owner has asked for an ivory white hull. This boat will finish in February if we can sort out supply chain issues. Among other things, generators are very hard to get these days. You can see how they lay out the components. For example, that's where the engine wheel is mounted to. You can see here the bonded skeleton structure in the bridges. Some of that wonderful varnish work. Down here between this bulkhead, right down the middle of the screen, that's the foam that I was talking about that they make in-house. Why do they do it in-house? Greater quality control, and when they need it, they got it. These days, with the supply chain so disrupted, many builders are having a hard time getting foam. Not J-Craft. All of the mechanicals, for example, the electrical and the plumbing, they're made outside of the boat and then dropped in modular form. It's not just an efficiency, it's just easier when they have this stuff up on the wall at eye level, and all the wiring harnesses are made outside of the boat and then just dropped in. It is a great way to build a boat. And my friends here at J-Craft say, look, the people who taught them how to build to this quality were the super yacht builders, Hayson and Lorson, because more than half a dozen J-Crafts are tenders to huge super yachts like Nord. The whole world has been reading about Nord lately. So they have a J-Craft. And when Lorson came in and spec'd the tenders, that is how J-Craft learned to build to this quality. It's a great heritage. I love this angle because it shows you that great wishbone shape. It sort of gives some meaning to the word torpedo and to the word J-Craft. So I'm up on the upper level here to orient you. That's the paint room that we just left. And I'm going to show you now the deck area. take some 8,500 hours to build a boat craft. That's about triple of any other boat builder I know. And the single biggest chunk of those hours is in this deck. It is an incredible bit of artwork of highly varnished Kaya mahogany. I'm not going to show you the finished boat yet. I'm going to tease you. But I'm going to go down now and do some close-up shots of this. This is Henrik, I believe. Everyone comments upon the transom of a J-Pilot. Here it is before the mechanicals are installed. See if I can get you a sense of the gleam on the varnish. The caulking is all done by hand, sanded down, and that's when the epoxy and the varnish goes on. This is where, as you saw on the white hull, the engine and mechanicals go. Cockpit and helm area. Pretty damn cool. So you're looking at about 3 millimeters of mahogany that's bonded to about 20 millimeters of fiberglass epoxy deck. I could stand here all day and watch them do this. In fact, I'm going to. Come back to Sweden with me and I'll show you myself. All right, it's time to look at a boat. This is a 2018 42 Torpedo. Lives in Saint-Tropez, brought back here for some varnish work. Most of the owners bring the boat back to Sweden. Let me go back up top and get an aerial view. Now I'm back up top for a better view. I'll zoom in a little and give you bow to stern. J-Craft only builds one model, the 42 Torpedo. Top speed 43 knots. This is hull number 20, is that ivory one on the other side. They've only built about one a year for the last 20 years, but that's changing. One of them is in the States, the rest are in Europe and Asia, or the Middle East. The American boat is on a lake somewhere in the Midwest. I'll have to check that out. Back to the 2018 model. A little dusty, you get the idea. Volvo Penta IPS engines. Helm area. So every component on this boat but one comes from Sweden, right down to the Volvo engines. Except the steering wheel is Italian. I believe the same one that goes in vintage Ferraris. Beautiful windshield. One thing I've really appreciated on this trip to Europe between the Rhode Island boats and this is glass and how expensive top quality glass is and how important it is to the overall finish of the boat. So this stainless bit here, this is for the flagpole. Window ports, hatches, torpedo-shaped feet. stainless rail, stainless hatch liners, and a beautiful piece of stainless here, real sculpture. These are all made right here in Sweden. It is an entirely Swedish boat. I love this view. So here's the after. Here's the before. Presto Changeo magic.